Renée Sferrazza, your sommelier, here to put amazing wine in your glass. And these are my liquid pleasures. We live in a world with so many food sources available to us. There's French, Italian, Spanish, Ethiopian, even Caribbean. In every city around the world, you can literally find almost anything that you'd want to eat. Now, when it comes to making a great food and wine pairing, it's all about bringing together things that make your palate and mind sing. For a wonderful wine that I love that pairs with so many variety of dishes, the Sella Mosca Cannonau di Sardegna Riserva is an amazing option. This is a wine that can really lend itself well to untraditional food pairings. But first, let's get into the wine and how it tastes. Cannonau di Sardegna originates from the Sardinia island in Italy. The grape is Cannonau, which is what makes this wine. Now, it was thought that the grape Cannonau was Grenache, which was imported to the island around the 14th century. However, science has recently disputed that, and that Cannonau has a unique cultural heritage to the island of Sardinia. It is native to that place. While they are related, Grenache and Cannonau, Cannonau really does showcase the terroir of the island of Sardinia. It's a beautifully ruby and almost rustic colored wine. It's a bit lighter in complexion and concentration, but that's okay. You don't have to be fooled by having a darker colored wine to get boldness in it as well. Because once you get onto the nose and the palate, this is where this wine really sings. Let's dive in. There are beautiful aromas of raisinated fruit, earthiness, and a little bit of spice in here too. You get this wonderful, almost amarena cherry note, a little bit more of like a bright red cassis, some nice plum notes as well, almost like a sun-dried finish, like a sun-dried tomato and tomato leaf, and some beautiful baking spices as well as just a little bit, a touch of orange zest. Let's get into the palate. On the palate, this is a beautiful wine. You really get some nice brightness from the acidity coming right down the side and some nice tannins down the center. It's really showcasing a lot bolder than you would expect on the palate. However, because this wine has a brightness of acidity, it's perfect for pairing with food. It's also showing how the Sardinian terroir can be displayed in the glass. The other interesting thing about Cannonau is its link to longevity. Sardinia as a whole is part of one of the 5 blue zones across the planet. These are zones where people tend to live longer, healthier, and generally happier lives than, well, the rest of us. And when you look at the culture of Sardinia, they have a people that live to almost 90, even past 100. A lot of this has to do with their healthy lifestyles, but also the food they eat, the family bonds that they have. This all contributes. Where Cannonau comes into it, well, you really have to look at the grape itself. Cannonau is a grape that has a lot of polyphenols. These are really linked to antioxidants, which are great for longevity. At the same time, this is a grape that's also filled with tons of anthocyanins, which are really found in berries. It's another type of antioxidant that's great for heart health and longevity as well. So this is a Cannonau that has a lot of fruit, dried fruit notes, a little bit of spices, and you get a touch of earthiness to it. On the palate, there's a lot of texture here. It's a little bit richer and bold, but it has some great tannins and acidity. When I'm thinking about a food pairing, I really want to go with something that highlights the wine, but also gives a really good complement to the dish itself. First up, I want to dive into some empanadas. These are mushroom-filled empanada, and really I want to play with that umami flavor. Umami is that place for a vegetarian dish that can really fill that almost meaty chewiness and also those flavors that are there. Think mushrooms, chewy, little bit of meaty. So with the mushroom empanada, we're really going to be picking up on all these notes and creating new ones that'll start to make your senses sing. The name empanada comes from the word empanar, which means to wrap or coat with bread. Now, there's a lot of myths about where this dish got its origins from, because you can find it in a lot of Mediterranean and also southern country cuisine. We have Chile, Puerto Rico, Panama, Argentina. But, you know, there are some inclinings that this might be a dish that can have links to the Galicia region in both Spain and Portugal. While there's a lot of ways to make empanadas and you do find them in many different places around the world, I'm always craving a wine pairing with them, that's for sure. While this is a great wine all on its own, it's typically recommended to be paired with roasted vegetables, pork, lamb, but I like to go a little bit more on the untraditional side. I love to do a Jamaican style goat curry with this. This is a dish that gives a lot more intensity, you get a little bit more bite and some spice at the same time. A lot of people think that when you're pairing with spicier style foods, you should go with a sweeter wine, but that's not always the case. Cannonau is a great option, especially this one, because it melds so well with spice. A great pairing with spice isn't about quelling it. It's about having an experience on the palate that is more radial and creating a bunch of new flavors. While we've been diving into all these wonderful food pairings and the notes of this beautiful Cannonau di Sardegna, you might be thinking, what is an unconventional food pairing? When it comes to talking about classic and unconventional food pairings, we're really looking at two things. Classic food pairings are food pairings that belong to the region where the wine is normally made and served. So we're seeing those pork dishes, those lamb dishes, and vegetable dishes from Sardinia itself. However, when you're going off the beaten path, off of that original cultural food, you're looking for an untraditional, unconventional pairing, hence pairing it with some goat curry or even an empanada, or even going way off the board and going into some umami flavor with even sushi. So the next time you're in for a great food and wine pairing, whether it's with some goat curry or with an empanada, you will not be disappointed with the Sella Mosca Riserva Cannonau di Sardegna. This is a delicious wine to put into your glass and to try with a variety of non-traditional food pairings, plus it's affordable too. You can find the link right down below on where to get this wine. And hey, while you're there, why don't you tell me what you would be pairing this wine with, or even ask me some questions. I'd love to answer them. So like and subscribe for more so I can keep informing you on some amazing wines to put into your glass. Cheers!